Hi, my name is Jill Jordan, and this is my video reflection on characteristics of healthcare management consultants. So in chapter 15, we learned about various ideal characteristics for healthcare management consultants. These include autonomy, integrity, competence, fidelity, honesty, justice, dignity, and commitment to learning. For this reflection, I'm first going to briefly describe these characteristics. Then I will talk about two I personally possess and two characteristics that I need to work on. And then finally, I will talk about an individual that I work with that may possess these characteristics. So according to the text, autonomy is the ethical principle of making decisions independently for oneself. Integrity means being able to fulfill commitments. Competency means being able to demonstrate and teach skills and behaviors that are essential to a certain profession. Fidelity is demonstrated through good stewardship, which means keeping confidences and avoiding conflicts of interest. Honesty means being truthful in all forms of communication. Justice basically just means being fair and responsible. Dignity means acting in a way that makes one's profession worthy of honor and respect. And finally, commitment to learning means that one is willing to continue to learn new things as the system changes. So I think that I possess more than two of these characteristics in different ways at this point. But for this reflection, I'm going to focus on honesty and dignity. I've always just been a really truthful person, even when it's hard to be in like every aspect of my life. And that has definitely carried over to the workplace for me. I don't currently work in the healthcare field as I'm currently looking for jobs, but I use honesty at the place I do work, so I definitely can see that carrying over once I do work in the healthcare field. But there have been times when I or others that I work with have made a mistake, and we're all worried that we can get in trouble with our bosses, so it can be really tempting to be dishonest. However, being dishonest could lead to more issues, so I always find it best to just tell my boss what truthfully happened, even if he's going to be a little upset with me for a while. And then the next characteristic that I'm going to focus on that I believe I possess is dignity. Like I previously mentioned, dignity means acting in a way that makes one's profession worthy of honor and respect. For this, generally, I would just say I'm always trying to be the best version of myself and present myself nicely to others. And I think that shows a lot of dignity because it will make other people respect me. But I currently work in a restaurant, so I'm gonna use this setting as an example. When going to a restaurant, there are a lot of different types of servers and different types of customers. Some servers seem to mope around and they act like they don't really want to be there. And then that in turn makes the customer feel like they're not getting good service. This can lead to the customer not wanting to come back, or in this case, maybe not leaving a good tip. And I'm not gonna lie, there are some days when I just really do not want to be at work, and I think everybody has felt that. However, I want to show pride and dignity, so I always work with a smile and act upbeat and friendly. This leads to the customer giving me more respect and thinking good things about my profession and the restaurant I work at. I think this also obviously translates into healthcare. If a patient comes in and their nurse is moping around, not talking with them much, and just doesn't really seem into it, the patient might not feel safe and cared for. And those two things are very important in patient care. So I'll definitely take the characteristic dignity into my future profession with me. So there are a few characteristics I think I possess, like I mentioned, but there are also definitely some I can work on. And the two I will focus on in this reflection are autonomy and competence. So I think a lot of people are like this, but I'm a person who just really does not like making mistakes. I want to do things right the first time, and I don't want to have to be corrected and then like go back and change what I did. In a way, this is a good thing, because I mean, people who don't care, like that's a bad characteristic to have. So this is a good thing. However, oftentimes I do not practice autonomy because of this. So when I make a decision, before I actually carry it out, I want to check with someone higher than me to make sure it's the right decision. I struggle to fully make decisions on my own. I do this because if like my boss tells me, yes, that is the right thing to do, then I feel proud. I knew the right thing to do. I'm gonna be right. I don't have to go back and change it. But there are gonna be times in future careers where I don't have time to wait around and get other people's approval. I'm just gonna need to be confident in my own decision and just make it right there and go. So that is definitely something I personally need to work on. The next characteristic I think I need to work on is competence. I do have competence in certain things, like at my work, at my restaurant, I can train new employees. I can teach them how to do things. So that's competence in that setting of my life. But what I'm in school for, health services is my major. I want to get my master's in healthcare administration. So I want to be a healthcare administrator one day. And I don't really think I have competence in that yet. I don't have experience being a healthcare administrator. There's different like online tools and stuff that you can use to manage healthcare. I don't really have experience in that. So as of now, I don't think I could properly demonstrate or teach skills that it takes to be a healthcare administrator. There are parts of my like personality and characteristics I have that I think would make me a good leader, make me a good healthcare administrator. I'm learning a lot of things in my classes that will help me personally, but I don't have like the physical skills. Like, how am I going to schedule people? How am I going to survey patients to make sure that they're receiving the best care, things like that. I haven't actually hands-on tried that stuff, so I don't feel like I have true competency in that way yet. So as I have mentioned, I do not work in the healthcare field right now. So I don't really have a healthcare management consultant that I can discuss right now, like with these characteristics, like the assignment had asked. But since I do work in a restaurant, I'm just gonna use that setting as an example, and then I'll talk about how it kind of connects to healthcare management consultants. So at the restaurant I work at, I have a handful of bosses. There are various types of managers above me, along with the owners. One of the owners is named Tony, and for this assignment, I am gonna describe him as a restaurant management consultant. So the same thing as a healthcare management consultant, but just in the restaurant field. I think this because he does almost every one of the things that the textbook says that a healthcare management consultant does. So to name these, he goes over the restaurant's financial statements. There are times when he has stepped in and acted as a general manager. So he's not usually like out on the floor in the kitchen with us employees. He's in the office in the morning, doing paperwork and going over like the more businessy things. But there are times when another manager is out of town or they're sick or something comes up. It's just a really busy night, and he steps in and he does what needs to be done. He can be the manager in the kitchen. He can be the manager just like out on the floor, making sure everything's running smoothly. He has stepped in and acted as general manager in the times when maybe one manager was let go or left for some reason and we were in the process of hiring a new one. And then he's also the one like responsible for hiring new employees. Any of us employees can give them an application, but when they return it, we give it to them, and he's the one that contacts them, interviews them, extends an offer to them if he wants them to come work for us. He's always doing different things to increase profitability and productivity, whether that is through things like enhancing employee morale. Like for example, he hosts a Christmas party or just different things throughout the year that are like fun and good for the employees. Or another way he increases profitability and productivity is just by like updating things for the restaurant that are more appealing to customers. So if we have a new and improved menu, or we just got a new and improved patio, that really attracts customers, and that increases the profitability of our restaurant. And then the final thing, it kind of goes along with what I just said about increasing the profitability. He implements changes that need to be made to make the restaurant better. He truly does it all and keeps the restaurant running. And since he has such an important role, I think there definitely can be some challenges. One main challenge is that my boss, the restaurant management consultant, or just healthcare management consultants like we're talking about in chapter 15, I feel like they have a lot on their plate. So I mentioned a lot of things that come along with this role that I got out of the textbook, and it truly is a lot. So I could see these people having a hard time getting everything done, or maybe it's difficult to prioritize their various tasks. So to get everything done, I would imagine they have to put in a lot of long, hard hours, and they may even need to do some work when they go home. And I would say that's definitely challenging, because I don't think anyone in the world wants to work that much. But it is awesome to see people that are so passionate about their organization and what they do, that they do all of these different hard tasks to just make it as best as it can be. Thank you.